feel like there's this burgeoning evil inside me. I feel like I just want to pass it on and get rid of it somehow. Ow. Oh. Anyway, welcome to this, a late night screen review on Halloween Ends.
Let's go. Come and get me, motherfucker.
So, welcome to this late night screen review. We have reviewed Halloween Ends. And yeah, guess what? Spoilers. It's all over, folks. It's all done. Hooray! Halloween's ended, folks. That's right. Laurie Strode in a long battle against Michael Myers, and it's finally over. So, I went to my local theatre to watch this film late last night, and yeah, I was in the mood for this movie. I've been really looking forward to it. I was really happy when Halloween 2018 happened, and it got rid of all the other movies and kind of ignored all the sequels, because let's be honest, in this franchise, they weren't that great. So a chance to kind of revisit Michael Myers and go back to Haddonfield was really welcomed by me, and I really enjoyed 2018's performance. Less so with Halloween Kills, with all its kind of, you could kind of call it, with its all of insertions of all the kind of modern day American politics that were happening at that time, the kind of mob mentality stuff, the fact that all the characters in Haddonfield could not get past the fact that a few people, like a handful of girls, were murdered in the late 70s in Haddonfield, and in that modern world they couldn't get past Michael Myers. It just seemed really unnatural and kind of forced. So not a great movie. This film, however, kind of takes it back to kind of the more kind of naturalistic, if that's a word we can use for this franchise, the kind of more natural, kind of real world kind of look at Michael Myers as a serial killer. And it aims to end that story. And for me, even though I'm a massive fan of the original Halloween movie, one of the greatest slashers ever, in my personal opinion, I was kind of up for that in a weird way, in this kind of psychological twist on the whole thing. I was kind of up for seeing the end of a franchise for once. I'm not a big fan of franchises. I don't know why we have to continually keep making movies. A film is a film, and it can either be brilliant or not so good. And either way, it's okay for it to just end. We watch a movie, we put it on, we enjoy it, we don't enjoy it, and it ends. There's an ending. That's what a story is. It has a beginning, middle, and end. And I'm okay with a film ending. And with the Halloween franchise in particular, I just feel like it's kind of gone on its course and it's time to kind of end it. There's only so many times I can watch Michael Myers, this kind of unfeeling monster, the Shape, go after sort of teenage people and murder them stabby style with a knife. I mean, there's only so many times I want to see that movie, and I've kind of had my fill of it now. And that's not a bad thing, and it's not a detriment or kind of negative viewpoint on Halloween as a movie. I love those movies. Well, I love the original Halloween. I don't mind the sequel. All the other films, they're kind of hit and miss, and there's a lot of them, and I think I'm exhausted by it. And what's interesting about Halloween Ends is that even the characters within the narrative are kind of getting tired of all this. They even verbally say it at one point. So by the end of this movie, we see, spoilers, we see Laurie go against Michael for the final time. And the way that ends, me personally, I was satisfied by it. there's a sort of uplifting ending, and it kind of ends in a positive way. And I haven't got a problem with that, even though I'm a massive horror fan. I don't have a problem with characters walking away from a situation having not been murdered. That's okay. There are some plot points in this movie that I can see where people would have a problem with it. They would have maybe a problem with a kind of character, a nerd character, kind of down and out underdog character who gets bullied and picked on a lot, finally stepping up and kind of reenacting his revenge of the nerd style. That's an old school cliche, I think, of sequels that were happening, especially in horror movies, in the 1980s and 1990s. So for me, it was almost kind of, even though the plot point is a bit kind of hit and miss, it did kind of have those remnants of those kind of old school franchised movies, very much in the same kind of vein as A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, or a Christine, or, various other movies. So in a weird way, it was nostalgic, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was subtly done, and I didn't mind it that much. Some people out there that are hardcore Michael Myers fans would kind of say, well, where's Michael? And how come Michael isn't doing most of the killing? Because he doesn't do that much in this movie. But for me, again, it's a finality, and it comes to an end. And it's about time, really. There's not many more times I can go see a Halloween movie where I just watch Michael Myers stab people. This movie did its own thing. It had something to say. It had kind of remnants of 1980s franchised kind of sequels, and kind of took its own little twist on it. And for me, I enjoyed that. There are certain things that I didn't like. There are elements that it would have been nice to have seen The Shape do more damage and kind of go out there a bit more. But this film is kind of more grounded in realism to an extent, and is more invested in the finality of an arc of a story. And I think that's something that's worth watching. And then once you've seen it, you can kind of go, great, I don't have to see that anymore. And again, sometime in the future, I will watch Halloween again. I will be watching the original Halloween this Halloween. And I might revisit the new trilogy, the 2018 Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, in all due course. But for me, it's finished now, and there's something to be celebrated in that. Not all endings are sad endings. A positive ending can be had out of a Halloween franchise, and I enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect by no stretch of the imagination, but again, as a finality of a long-running franchise, this cuts the mustard as far as I'm concerned. So that's my Halloween review. I recommend going to see this movie. You might have some reservations if you're a real hardcore Michael Myers fan and really want to see him do his thing. You might be disappointed by this movie. This movie does have kind of remnants of Friday the 13th Part 5, and real horror fans are going to know what I'm talking about. And if you really can't stand that kind of thing, where it's not maybe the killer that you're expecting, you are going to be heavily disappointed by this movie. If you can kind of give it a shot and kind of see something a bit new in a Halloween movie and see the film franchise finish, finally, and might actually be ready to see that, then go watch this movie. Try and go and watch this movie with an open mind. It's not a great movie, but it's worth a watch. I'd recommend go see it. That's my review. Please don't kill me. Also, just a quick update on Jack Horrorhound's House of Horrors. For this Halloween, episode 12 is finished, so the final part of the zombie trilogy that I did for the retrospective is done and finished. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but you'll have to wait and see. That's going to come out after Halloween. I've also got episode 13 nearly edited, which is a whole new movie, a whole different review, obviously. That's also very nearly completion. But we're going to inject a brand new episode in, a shorter, smaller episode for a Halloween special, because I forgot about Halloween. How did I do that? I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of work going into that to get it out exactly on Halloween, and then very closely afterwards episode 12 will follow. Again, I apologize for the lateness in episodes. We are trying so hard to get these episodes done, but it takes so much work. Again, guys, if you keep supporting the show, if you can like, share and subscribe, that would be amazing. Obviously, if we can keep building the show, building the community, maybe get some patronage in there if people can, only if you can, then it'll help us to make these shows more regularly. to make the shows more regular, because obviously that's what we want as well. But until then, keep scared, keep safe, and we will see you soon.